what do you think is worth measuring? Because there's so much water consumption, use of materials, plastics, CO2 impact, simply waste. Just generally kind of saying it goes into a landfill. Like, eh, where would you? I'm not
Where
saying
would
where
you
would you
start?
start, but for you
Yeah,
specifically, where do you guys think that
yeah,
it is making an impact or
yeah.
would make an impact?
So I think it's it's definitely a conversation we've had numerous times, and I think if we could almost start at the waste, the landfill side, right? If we could come up with a sort of an explainable and measurable way to identify how much waste we could potentially be saving from landfill. I think then if we could come up with that answer, it probably makes working back from that point, you could then try and extrapolate out into water saved, CO2, and all the rest of it, right? But I think as a starting point for us, it would need to be okay if we are keeping, let's just say, a sofa, if we are keeping a sofa within the circular economy over a 4 year period and we have 6 different people using that, then could we extrapolate that back? Okay, well, we've saved at least 1 or 2 sofas from landfill. And if
Mm.
you can start at that point and work back, then things, I think, become a lot clearer. And I think I touched on it a bit earlier. For me, as a founder, and I always want to, especially if we have something on the website and we start shouting about certain numbers, I just want to be able to, if somebody challenged me on those points, and it's the reason why we don't currently have anything on there, is because I've wanted to fundamentally make sense on like if somebody says, okay, well, how do you get to these numbers? I want to be able to sit them down and say, look, this is our sort of method behind the madness. These are the reasons why we said X, Y, and Z, and this is how we're extrapolating it out. And I think if you can get to that point and you feel like you can justify, the reasoning behind some of the assumptions you make, because I've seen on certainly some of the websites I've seen, there's these wild sort of assumptions. And I just want to make sure before we start advertising or putting, certain numbers to certain things that ourselves as a company are happy and we can justify those
Mm.
numbers behind it. Because I think there's a lot of greenwashing, at the
Yeah.
moment. And I just want to make sure that before we move down that road, we have a really strong position on this is why we said, and these are the reasons behind it.